Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Art is the reshaping of reality by man to present it in an understandable way. As the artist recreates the world around him, it is shaped by how he sees it and what he believes in. The Indian artist did not attempt to depict only the material reality around him. He wished to share the complete experience of the moment, not just the photographic presentation of the shapes around him. Beauty for the Indian artist has been a reflection of the glory of God. In fact, for the ancient artist, the experience of beauty, the ecstasy on seeing nature or art which is truly beautiful, has been considered as akin to Brahmanand or the final bliss. Join us on this journey into the heart of the Indian tradition of painting. Come with us to the gorge of the Vaghora river, where Ajanta was created, to the courts of the Mughals and the Deccani Sultans. Journey with us through the deserts of Rajasthan and the icy lands of Ladakh and Lahaul Spiti. In the verdant south and in the gentle hills of the north, experience the compassionate view of life that is enshrined in Indian painting.
There was a time when the waking of the sun and the call of the ecstatic bird ruled the lives of men and women. Amidst all the frantic clamour of the restless and modern world, the tribal communities in India still preserve a quieter and simpler way of life. The tribal people are our only link to life before the historic period.
What we call tribals today were once upon a time the original inhabitants of this country, spread all over the mountains and forests and all over the river plains and things.
These are men and women who still live closely with nature. Amid all the influences of the fast-changing world, they continue an ancient legacy. They still lead a life which is shaped by the changing seasons and the rising and setting of the sun and the moon. They know no days and hours of the modern world, and their lives follow other rhythms. They have a direct and intimate relationship with the many animals around them, whom they see as their fellow creatures. The pains and joys of every hen and cow are as real as any of their own. The animals are beings which are a part of their lives, just like the trees which give them shelter and the flowers which provide the fragrance. These are not men and women struggling against the vicissitudes of a confusing and painful human existence. These are people living in the harmony of all of creation.
अगर एक और सूर्य और एक और चंद्रमा को चित्रित कर देते हैं वे लोग, इसका मतलब है कि उनने सृष्टि का चित्रांकन कर दिया। और मनुष्य के होने का जो संसार है, नदियां हैं, पेड़ हैं, फूल हैं, पौधे हैं, जानवर हैं, पशु पक्षी हैं, इनके साथ में ही मनुष्य का होना हो सकता है। मैं मनुष्य के होने की और जीवन की ऐसी कोई कल्पना नहीं कर पाता जिसमें मनुष्य अकेला होगा, मनुष्य के साथ कोई पशु नहीं होगा, कोई पक्षी नहीं होगा, कोई पेड़ नहीं होगा, कोई नदी नहीं होगी, जल नहीं होगा, सूर्य, चंद्रमा, तारे और आकाश गंगाएं नहीं होंगी। या तो सब कुछ होगा या कुछ भी नहीं होगा।
These men and women accept the collective understanding of their ancestors coming to them through their traditions. They accept the fact of the simple harmony of the world and that the human being is only one small part of the great dance of the cosmic creation. They do not always try to twist and turn and to dominate the forces of nature around them. They do not have the need to subjugate other forms of life to provide them more and more sustenance for an unlimited greed. The art of the tribals is an integral part of their lives. Through their paintings, they create gods who protect and heal them. They continue the unchanging thoughts and the eternal themes of humankind.
हमारे लिए जो चित्र, निपट चित्र या शिल्प है, वो एक आदिवासी के लिए सिर्फ चित्र और शिल्प नहीं है, उससे ज़्यादा बड़ी चीज़ है। वो उसकी मनोती है, उसका अनुष्ठान है, उसका पूरा आध्यात्मिक और धार्मिक विश्वास है, चाहे वे धार्मिक विश्वास हमारे लिए कितने भी अबूझे और गूढ़ क्यों ना हो। उन छोटे छोटे समुदायों में उनका एक अपना अर्थ होता है।
Deep in the heart of Orissa, the Sauras continue their simple way of life. Their lives are deeply bound to the earth upon which they live. Their ancestors lie buried in the sacred soil of their village. The spirits of their ancestors and their deities guard their lives, lives which are governed by hallowed traditions.
Whether in their oral songs or what I call the song poems, their dance forms, everything is in tune with nature. That is the nature in all its manifestations, the river, the tree, the hills, and the coming of flowers and fruits. Everything is transformed into song patterns as well as in their paintings. Therefore, nature in several of their song poems, they think of it as the ultimate God, and that way also the paintings reflect this aspect of reality. So, all the time there is an attempt to bring together the various aspects of what they consider are the forces of nature, forces of God, their own lives, other men in society. All these are brought together always.
The Sauras appease gods and spirits through the making of their paintings. They capture the spirits that control their lives in the paintings they make upon the walls of their homes. This is the magic through which they wish to shape their destinies and their lives. In their paintings, they create sacred enclosures. The spirit of the deity to be appeased can then be held in these.
They paint something which is akin to or a part of their own life, the celebration of different rituals, then the rituals all the way starting from the birth of a child, naming of a child, marriage and all that, right up to the death rituals. The other cycle of paintings are the harvesting series. Sowing of seeds, then de-weeding operations, harvesting of the crops, and also when the trees are in flowers. That is, these two categories, the life cycle rituals and the primitive agricultural cycle rituals. So this aspect of a nostalgia for life here, a determination to enjoy, and a kind of an idea that there could be an ever recurring life cycle, that they will come back again, it is there.
सच ये है कि लोग समाज भी भारत में जो गांव में रहते हैं वो भी ये पश्चिम का जो ऐतिहासिक समय है इसकी स्मृति से बहुत चेतना नहीं पाते। उनके लिए भी समय एक आवर्तशील घटना चल रही है। वे समय को एक लीला मानते हैं, वे समय के शिकार नहीं हैं, समय में जीते हैं, समय को भोगते हैं, जीवन को जानते हैं और विदा हो जाते हैं इस विश्वास के साथ कि उनको फिर से जीवन में लौटना है। जीवन का कोई आखिरी अंत नहीं होता। समय की ये परिकल्पना ही हमारे पारंपरिक चित्रों में, ट्राइब में भी और फोक में भी आती है। उसमें अनंत का समय है, अनंत का जीवन है।
The many tribes spread over Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat have deeply shared traditions. The Rathwa tribe paint their myths of creation upon a sacred wall in their homes. Their paintings bring to life the myth of creation, which begins with the story of their most revered deities, Babo Pitoro and Babo Ind.
Now, this myth of Indra and Pitoro is painted on the walls, and they've mud plastered a wall that divides the living spaces and the kitchen, and that wall is the sacred wall. They mud plaster the wall, and after whitewashing, several painters come from nearby areas and they all get together and begin to paint the myth of creation. The painting is roughly divided between the upper worlds, the middle world and the nether worlds. The upper worlds are inhabited by gods and goddesses. The middle world is inhabited by human beings, the farmers, the policemen, men and women, their stories, the characters from their stories, and the underworld is inhabited by their ancestors. And they have very elaborate paintings in which generally their gods and goddesses and their ancestors are shown riding horses.
ये एक मनोती मानते हैं, किसी भी काम के हो जाने की मनोती, और मनोती के पूरा हो जाने के बाद काजल रानी की गाथा को चित्रित करवाने के लिए एक व्यक्ति को आमंत्रित करते हैं जो चित्र बनाता है। उसको भील परंपरा में लिखंद्रा कहा जाता है, और जो आदमी काजल रानी की इस गाथा को गाता है उसको बड़वा कहा जाता है। तो आश्चर्य की बात यह है कि मनोती पूरा होने के बाद घर की भीतरी दीवार पे जब ये चित्र बनना शुरू होता है तो जिस समय बड़वा इस गाथा को, काजल रानी की गाथा को गा रहा होता है, ठीक उसी समय लिखंद्रा दीवार पे उस गाथा को चित्रित कर रहा होता है और उसमें पूरा जीवन चित्रित किया जाता है, खास तौर से घोड़े। लेकिन एक तरह का पूरा जीवन चक्र एक पूरी पेंटिंग में भी लोग बनाते हैं।
When the story is being narrated, often other people who are sitting around, some of them get possessed by other characters of the painting, and they also get up and begin to dance. And this is how the deities who are actually painted on the wall are descending into the wall, and they take residence in the wall, and that is how the wall becomes a living presence of the deities and the ancestors. After that, they feel that their house is protected because deities and ancestors are living in their house.
It is the God which is taking shape, the God which is coming in their house. So they say they hear the bells of the horses which are coming at night. They say that they have to give tooth brush for all the figures in the painting. So all the figures become live in their own painting, and that makes the painting beautiful.
And all the painters get together, and from morning to evening in one day they have to complete the painting with all the characters who are a part of this creation. And this creation myth begins with their gods and goddesses but ends with contemporary characters. They end with collectors and mamlatdar, they end with rifles, they end with airplanes.
दरअसल एक भोला आदिवासी इस सृष्टि में जो भी चीज कौतुक से देखता है वो उसको अपनी सृष्टि में शामिल कर लेता है, और यही उस परंपरा की निरंतरता का सबसे बड़ा कारण भी है। मैं नहीं सोच पाता कि जितनी चीजें जीवन को लेकर उनने जीवन चक्र की तरह उस पेंटिंग में अंकित की हैं, वे सबकी सब शुरुआत से ही थी। उनमें चीजें धीरे धीरे जुड़ी हैं और वो विषय की विविधता लगातार बढ़ती चली गई है, जैसे कि जीवन बढ़ता चला जाता है। बिल्कुल ठीक इसी तरह से उसमें कोई पूर्वाग्रह नहीं है, क्योंकि उसका कोई तैयार ग्रामर नहीं है कि इसके आगे और कोई विषय वस्तु का चित्रांकन नहीं किया जाएगा। अगर उसमें बंदूक पहली बार देखी गई है तो बंदूक जीवन का हिस्सा हो गई, वो बिंब बन गया, वो चित्र का अनिवार्य हिस्सा हो चुका। अगर हवाई जहाज देख लिया गया है एक बील के द्वारा तो वो पिठौरा का हिस्सा क्यों नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो तो जीवन का ही हिस्सा है, उसको देख लिया गया है, उसकी प्रामाणिकता पर उसको कोई शक नहीं है।
The Warli tribes live in the Thane district of Maharashtra. They have had a tradition of very distinctive and lively paintings, which were made at the time of marriages by the women of the village. In recent years, their art has evolved considerably, from the simple ritualistic forms of earlier times to cover a vast range of subjects of village life. In the shadow of the sacred Mahalakshmi mountain in Dahanu lives the Masya family, who have brought much acclaim to the art of the Warlis.
पेंटिंग ऐसे तो हम शादी के टाइम जो चौक बनाते हैं वो करते हैं, लेकिन अभी जो पिताजी ने स्टोरी के बारे में जो आदिवासी का जो कहानी है, जो जैसा देव देवताओं का ऊपर अभी तो पेंटिंग करते हैं कि नारायण देव क्या है, हिरवा देव क्या है, जोटिंग क्या है, उसके ऊपर पेंटिंग करते हैं। जैसा रवाली पूजा क्या है, जो आदिवासी का पूरा जीवन में जो घड़ामोड़ी होता है उसके बारे में भी पेंटिंग करते हैं। वैसे तो ज़्यादातर ऐसे आदिवासी का जो स्टोरी है उसके ऊपर ही पेंटिंग हम करते हैं। पिताजी ने जब पहले तो जैसा शादी के टाइम में जो चौक बनाते हैं, उसके बाद वो हमारा परंपरा है, जो चौक जो है वो परंपरा है, वही शादी के टाइम में बनाते हैं। अभी शादी के टाइम बनाते बनाते पिताजी पहले से जानते थे, और उसके बाद पिताजी ने वो कागज़ पे सबसे पहले कागज़ पे चालू किया। पिताजी ने चौक बनाया वो पेपर के ऊपर। चौक बनाते बनाते उधर ही पिताजी ने किया कि अभी थोड़ा खेती का भी उसमें पेंटिंग करेंगे, तो खेती का और चौक उसमें पिताजी का बहुत अच्छा पेंटिंग आया। और उसके बाद पिताजी को बोला कि जीवा जी आप पेपर की पेंटिंग करिए 7-8 और आपका एग्जीबिशन करेंगे। अब पिताजी ने पेंटिंग करते करते चौक का और पूरा आदिवासी का 27 पेंटिंग बनाया।
We see reflected in the Warli paintings all aspects of their lives. We see their homes. We see them working in the fields, their musical instruments and dances, and even the insects around them.
मैं जितने भी चित्रों को देखता हूं, मैं ये पाता हूं कि वे सारे चित्र मनुष्य की केंद्रीयता से और मनुष्य के होने के संसार से भरे हुए नहीं हैं। वे सारे कागज और कैनवस पूरी सृष्टि के लिए हैं। उसमें मनुष्य की उतनी ही जगह है जितनी छोटी जगह इतनी बड़ी सृष्टि में मनुष्य की होना चाहिए। उसमें पशु हैं, पक्षी हैं, आकाश है, चंद्रमा है, तारे हैं, सूर्य हैं और वृक्ष हैं, फूल हैं, नदियां हैं और पहाड़ हैं। यानी मनुष्य के आसपास की वो पूरी सृष्टि उसमें उचित जगह पाती है।
The Hazaribagh area of Jharkhand has many tribal communities which continue their traditions of wall painting. These villages present us a view of painted walls which seem to take us back to an earlier time.
The relationship between these people and the forests that we see around them over here and the agricultural life which they are leading has a lot to do with the paintings which we are seeing in these village walls. The particular art we are looking at now has been made at the time of harvest. When they go into the forests, they encounter these animals and birds every day. So it's nothing strange for them that animals should be things that they are familiar with. And naturally, when they paint these things, they paint them very naturally.
The prolific paintings of the Ganju tribe are extremely expressive and lively. They take us into the magical world of the tribes, where the rain snakes who inhabit these forests are seen feeding off a cow's udder. The Kurmi villages in Jharkhand are a painted delight.
These villages do not celebrate Diwali, they celebrate the tribal festival of Sohrai, the harvest festival. And then they have the marriage season. Marriage season runs from February to June. And during that time they paint the khovas. Those are the painted rooms, the marriage rooms. This form of art is used in both the Sohrai and the khova, the comb cutting. So these people paint in the marriage room the forms of the birds, the animals and the plants as symbols of fertility.
The Kurmi tribes do not have any myths associated with their painted motifs. These paintings accompany every celebratory event in their lives, be it the harvesting of a new crop or the blessing of a newly married couple.
Now the woman artist over here is carrying a tradition which is sacred to the tribe itself and its values, and they want to in some way keep this tradition alive. They do not want this tradition to die, and the only way that that can be done is if they do not let the art die, because the art itself is the most powerful manifestation of this tradition. Without this art, this same village would not be the same village. So it is necessary to keep it alive.
These paintings bless the homes in which they are made. This has been their belief since times immemorial.
Well, they just accept that it will have an effect, that it will be beneficial, that it will be good. It is a custom. I don't think they question these matters very deeply. I don't think they need to think about it because they have come from generations which have blessed this belief, and having lived lives which have been blessed, they bless it for their children, and they carry on this tradition without questioning.
For my feeling, since the tribal art is a kind of living art, it's not decadent. It doesn't confine to a tradition and then finally die out and repeat itself, but it is an art form which continuously grows, and therefore I feel that the tribal art has tremendous contemporary possibilities and contemporary face.
भारतीय कला में ये बहुत केंद्रीय बात है कि इसमें जो कला का या सौंदर्य का जो अनुभव है ये हजार पीढ़ियों से आता है। इसमें कोई कलाकार ये दावा नहीं करता कि मैंने जो समय जाना है वो इतना अद्वितीय और अनूठा है कि इसके पहले किसी ने नहीं जाना है, और मैं पिछले हजार पीढ़ियों के जाने हुए जीवन को रद्द नहीं कर सकता। मैं वो पहला आदमी नहीं हूँ जो इस ज़मीन पे पहले कदम चल रहा हूँ। मेरे पीछे एक रास्ता सैकड़ों सैकड़ों लोगों और सैकड़ों सैकड़ों पीढ़ियों ने बनाया है। मैं उस रास्ते पर 2 कदम मैं भी चला हूँ, 1000 कदम लोग पहले चल चुके हैं।
The art of the tribals in India is the oldest continuing tradition of painting in our country. It brings to us images which are ever fresh, ever lively. These paintings are never copies. They are created each time afresh, and we can relate to their directness and honesty every time. Year after year they are made, lost, and then made again upon the walls. There is no desire to possess these forever. These are not merely works of art. These are the gods of the people who summon them. These paintings are an integral part of life.
Genda pula pula di gadari, jamali pula bujumayavari. Yoga gesugia binjalaya. Irahu sugi tokenya chure bata boy gesugia binjalaya. Yoga Ira usugi toke ya chure bata boy resugi binjalaya nahi sugi ya nakha nahi sugi pani piye sugi binjalaya rausugi toke ya chure bata boy resugi binjalaya Nai sugi likhe ja, nai sugi pare ja, nai sugi mukhe bol. Hirahu sugi toke ya chare bacha, boy re sugi binjalaya. Genda phula phula di gadari, jamali phula bujumayavari. Yoga binjalaya Irahu sugi toke ya chure bata boy gesu